Hi there, my name's Alan Stockdale. This is my podcast, what I've started just recently. I'm going to have guests on it, different guests every time, and hopefully some weekly guests. Now, one of the guests what I think I'm going to have on weekly is the lady I'm with now, a good friend of mine from Canada called Debbie Anderson. Say hello, Debbie.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you,
You
Alan?
all right?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm
Excellent.
doing great.
So, what I wanted to tell people in this particular episode, I'm going to try and concentrate on a subject what's come up quite a lot recently, because I've seen David Icke's written a book about it called The Trap, which we're talking about the Reincarnation Trap. Now, it's something that I've came across probably 10 years ago, and I know a lot of other people have as well. There's a guy called Cameron Day. He was a guy that sort of brought this information to me first, and I sort of took it from him and sort of investigated it further. So I wanted to talk about that today. And there's lots of subjects what's associated with it. And also, Debbie tells me that it's not something she knows a lot about herself. So that'd be quite good, because we can just have the conversation as if it's between me and the listeners, which me and you, Debbie.
I've never really understood it that well, too, because, I was a Buddhist for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I would really like to understand it clearly. Good.
Yeah. Well, so the gist I get and the understanding I've got, I've done meditations on it more recently, but before it was just what I gleaned off other people's information. But it always seemed to resonate with me, and I think it's probably because I knew the information deep down from when you're not in these bodies, let's say. But I just I didn't know all the information. But basically, the reincarnation trap, it's really simple. Let's just go back X amount of years, because I don't know. All history is a complete lie, as we know. Earth's history, so who knows how long these periods are. But let's just say a period before this reincarnation trap was set up. Basically, you just had your organic reincarnation. So let's just set the scene. You're not in your physical bodies, right? Let's say you're in the in-between lives. Now, as most people listening to this probably do realize, we're all fractals of source, God, creator, whatever word you want to use. And we're all having a journey on this particular planet, all of us together at the moment. And then what we do, we learn as lessons. And these lessons are what we set ourselves up to learn. So let's say we're in between life. Let's say it's me and Debbie. I want to play the baddie. You're going to play the goodie in the next life, and I'm gonna kick your ass, let's say, and then you're going to write a book about it, and I'm going to go to jail, right? So when we're in this life, we hate each other, but when we're out of this life, we're best of friends, because we know it's just parts we're playing in a game. Now, these are contracts what we make with ourselves, and we make with thousands of other people, what's in the soul families. This is what we do. That's how this existence works in an organic, normal way, right? So what you do, you come to Earth, you'd have your life, you'd have your experiences, you'd pass on back to the in-between life, you'd retain that knowledge, and then you would have another life. You wouldn't bring that knowledge with you, but you'd retain it in the in-between lives, let's say, right? Now, X amount of time earlier, whenever this was, this imposition came. Like I said, I don't know the exact details, if it was an alien one, if it's a spiritual or organic one, or demons, whatever it is. There was this mechanism set up. I personally lean towards technology. I think it was a technological device somehow that was set up by some sort of, maybe an Archon, maybe a sort of race in a fourth dimension, fifth dimension, maybe not in this dimension. Anyway, so this trap set up, basically what it was for is to, when people died, is to somehow get the signature of their being, their light, their soul, whatever it was, and misdirect it. So instead of going back to the organic one, where your soul family is, where you've made all your agreements, you've been taken off to this other place. When you get there, they'll be recording what's in your mind, however, in your soul, and they'll see what you're expecting to see. You may be a Buddhist, you may be Christian, you may be a Muslim, so you may be wanting to see all these religious idols, whatever, and that's what you'll be presented with. Your mum, your dad, your brother might be there to greet you, whatever, and you'll believe it. You'll think it's them. they'll then concrete that belief in your head, so you'll think it's all real. Oh, great, I'm in paradise, I'm in heaven, whatever it is. You'll then meet your so-called guides, and they'll all tell you you've had this life and you've done this and you've done that. But the thing what they will do, they will try to put karma on you. So instead of these lessons where, let's go back to the organic reincarnation version where I played the baddie, Debbie played the goodie, right? In that reality, there's no karma because we all decided to play these parts. They don't do that. In the reincarnation trap, what they do, they say, right, you was a bad person in this life. You've got to pay for that in another lifetime. And as a punishment for that, you're going to go back to Earth, we're going to wipe all your memories, and you're going to start again, and you're going to make up for it. At this time, to make up for that karma, let's say you've got to have a bad back. You've got to be mentally disabled. There'll be something they'll give you to cause you pain in the next life, or anguish, or whatever it could be, a bad relationship. You'll agree to it, so you'll give your consent in this lying reincarnation version.
That loopy one.
Yeah. So they then think the karma doesn't apply to them because they've conned you and you agree to it. So then you come to Earth and you play out these contracts, what you've made with this false light reincarnation people, trap, aliens, whatever you want to call them. And that's what happens to you. You get stuck in this loop, and all the time they're feeding off your energy. They're also feeding off all the misery because you might go back and do this, do that. It's totally not the organic incarnation, reincarnation cycle. Now, as far as I'm aware, and I've looked into this spiritually, meditation-wise, I've been told of lots of people who I know that this trap has been taken down. So I haven't read the David Icke book. I just know it. I know what subject's about. Just give me a second. I just need a drink.
Sure. I'm trying to get through David Icke's book, but I haven't quite made it through any of that.
Well, I
bought that book, exactly. The Trap.
So I don't know if he comes to the same conclusion. All I know what the subject
I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, let me know. And I'm sure people listening to this, they might be reading themselves if they're interested in this sort of subject. So, well, like I said, I don't know, but I know for a fact this now has been taken down as part of the Earth's ascension, whatever word you want to use, the fact that humanity is getting away from all this tyranny, all this evilness, all this blackness, what's on this planet. And that was a massive part of it. And that's been taken out, I believe, years ago. Now, the reason I say that is because, and the reason why I know a lot about this subject, because years ago, 2012, my dad was dying of cancer. Now, at that time, I used to read a lot of books about people who had near-death experiences. And they were always go to the light, go through the tunnel, go to the light, see your loved ones. At the time, I thought that was what you should do. I come later to realize after his death that was the trap. That was the reincarnation trap. Is that the light and the tunnel? Now, I told him to go towards this light. And then when he passed over cancer, I was riddled with guilt when I realized the truth. So that's why I looked into it. That's why I sort of learned and immersed myself in it. I have later found out since then that one of my relatives has come back to me and said that no, he didn't actually go to the reincarnation trap. He actually did. I don't know how, whatever, maybe his soul just knew once he passed over not to go there, for whatever reason. He didn't go. So that got rid of a lot of guilt what I was feeling. But it did lead me to investigate it a lot. So now, when you die, you do go back to the organic one, the real one, the one where you did make the contract yourself. And this feeding off our energy is not there no more. And the reason they had to take that away, whoever it was, maybe, I don't know, whoever you believe it was, angels, aliens, us in the higher dimension, our higher selves, whoever it was who dismantled this reincarnation trap, it had to be done. So we could then really start our ascension. And especially as time goes by, as generations go by, who die and come back again, we can keep that knowledge and then pass that knowledge on to us selves, to us higher selves, and just rejoin every other being in this universe on these cycles, what we go on. So that's basically the nutshell.
Sense. Yeah. To me, all this stuff about karma, oh my goodness, like how that was driven into our heads. Like everyone,
Yeah.
Karmic. Oh, that's bad karma. It's karma.
And how many
That's
movies?
all just nonsense.
How many movies have you seen, Debbie, over the
Oh,
years? Go to the light. You all think you're watching a really
yes.
enlightened, like Ghost, for instance, with Patrick Swayze. What happens there? The light shines, doesn't it? And he floats up to that light, and all the lovely music. And yeah, that's all Hollywood, as we know, controlled by these elites. What are all in cahoots with these entities? What brought this in position? So trying to convince us.
It's actually quite brilliant when you think about how they've. Well, that's just another version of how they've brainwashed us with this specific area.
It's
like unbelievable.
I know.
Like go to the light. So interesting enough. Like in one of the healings that I do, one of the things even that one of my teachers says is she the entity, like I do this specific work with healings and some attachments and entities and so on, and once they're sort of identified, they can go to the light. So what about that? Like, is because I say go to source. Go to source. Or I've even heard myself say go to the light, meaning source.
Right. Well, that's the difference, isn't it? I mean, that's been, like I said, that's been dismantled. That does not exist. That the tunnel and the light, and to this inorganic false light reincarnation trap, that doesn't exist no more. And I'm 99.99% sure I am right with that. So when you're telling these entities, people, entities, whatever, to go to the light, you're meaning source. Same as me.
I am.
Yeah, because we've all got the light inside of us, haven't we? We've all got a spark. We've all got a spark of source. I visualize it as a light, and the source energy I'm using the healing, that's white light, golden light. So going back to the light, it's the intention behind it, isn't it? You know what I mean? You're not a Hollywood Steven Spielberg directing poltergeist movies and showing all these tunnels and lights and everything. So
wow. It's actually quite fascinating when you step back from it and look at it. I mean, I mean, not at the time when you were talking about your grandpa there, and
well, how many times do you think we must have been through this reincarnation trap? Probably, well, who knows how many times? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how many times we've incarnated on this earth. I mean, we must have. I think we all must have gone through this trap at some point, if not numerous times each.
Oh, I'm sure we've gone through it thousands of times, right?
Who knows? Yeah.
Thousands of times.
Exactly.
It's all it's all their hologram stuff and what they're, whatever they want to call that, how they brainwash us with things like it looks like it's real.
Yeah, exactly.
And even in the spiritual, like when you die, like it's really quite fascinating to me. I'm like, whoa, like how they've managed to, for centuries.
Yeah.
For the human race.
You think about it, it must be really simple. If you've got a technology where you can just literally read somebody's brain thoughts, signals, whatever it is, what the dreams are, where they think they're going to go, you know what I mean? And then all you're going to do then is use some sort of supercomputer with some technology to create the hologram, like you say, way beyond any technology what we've ever had, or supposedly had.
Excuse me.
And then project that, and then away you go. Somehow to some sort of way of tracking the signal of your soul, maybe to attract you. But I do know though for a fact that a lot of these people that didn't go to reincarnation traps, a lot of them out, because I've heard stories of people, like when they've had actually near-death experiences where they said they've actually gone and they've seen this light and something just told them that it wasn't real, and they've just turned the back on it. And then the next minute they've seen another place, another reality, what's just suddenly appeared, like this trap just vanishes away as soon as they realise what it is.
So when you to understand this, so when we pass from this life and go to the what happens exactly, like or in your perception of it,
you mean in the reincarnation trap, or the real?
No, like in not the reincarnation trap. What happens when we don't go in this trap, when we don't go to the light, when we don't, what happens?
Actually, I think it's something very similar to what they actually projected. And I think that's why they actually use that projection, because it's so close to what actually happens. That's what I think. And the big difference is, I think when you leave this body, now a lot of people think when you leave this body, you suddenly know everything, and all of a sudden you're so spiritual. That's not the case at all. You leave this body, and you might have a little bit more knowledge, a slight more inkling. But if you're being hoodwinked into believing whatever, you're still going to believe it when you first die. It's only people, I think, that's had more knowledge about, like we do, like the knowledge we've got, for instance. We'd never fall for that trap because we'd know about beings, we know about entities, we know about the lies, the feeling, the energy. We'd be able to feel the energy off these beings and see that the liars. And that's what a lot of these people did, but never went to the reincarnation trap. You know what I mean? So I actually think when you do that, I think it's something very similar. I think so. Anyway, yes. Because my wife told me that when my dad died, that I was next to him in bed, and my wife was traveling from where I am now to where I used to live. That's where my dad was, and she was on the motorway. While she was driving, she got a vision of my auntie coming for my dad and taking him away to the light. Now, when she told me that, at first, I'm like, way fantastic. And then I realized about the reincarnation trap, and I just assumed that where it had gone was this trap. I've later found out that it wasn't. So thinking back now, that bit of memory just come back to me. Then that
the word
answers
light,
your question. Yeah.
The word light is a lot of people say that really it's source or God or the creator. And that word, though, so they're so clever to incorporate that in the, like, not in a good way, clever, but you know what I mean? That they've incorporated that all into this. Wow.
Yeah. And all this time while they're doing that, we're forgetting the lessons we've learned from every life. Therefore, that's why mankind
have to go back again and do it again and again.
And you're not learning anything. So that's why it's stunted our growth spiritually on this planet. I mean, don't get me wrong, Debbie. By a huge bigger picture, as anyone who ever reads my book in its entirety will tell you, I believe
your book is good. I'm reading it.
No, great. Awesome. Well, you might know that I see things as a bigger picture, as in from the biggest perspective, like as in we've just left source, we're all looking down at reality. What can we do this time to entertain ourselves for the next 10 billion years? Because we all live forever. So why not have some more fun and play different parts and do this and do that? You can play the god of the reincarnation trap, and I'll be the this and I'll be that. So I think in the bigger picture, it's all done by design. I personally think this reincarnation trap was set up from a very high perspective. What I'm talking about is so we actually escaped it and realized it, and this shutting down of this trap. How do we know it's just not us in our higher selves? How do we know it's just not us? Literally, our higher selves what have done it, not some benevolent alien species like a lot of people believe. Maybe it's just us what's closed it down. And so from my higher perspective, I thought, right, you've learned that lesson now. You've been through this trap enough times. It's time for you to carry on your journey. We'll just get rid of this trap now, and we'll just let you carry on having your little journeys like you are and learning your lessons, what you're learning. So mind-boggling stuff.
It really is. I'm telling you, like just this part of it is like mind-boggling to me. Yeah, really.
But at the end of the day, we're all immortal souls. We all live forever. We're all parts of source. We're all fractals of God, creator, source, whatever you want to call it. So don't worry about it. You know, it's not in the long run. Has it done us any harm going through these reincarnation traps? Not really, has it? We've probably been through it. Goodness knows how many times, hundreds of thousands of times. But we're still here. We're still journeying on. We're still getting closer back to a higher reality, let's say, once we leave this 3D version behind. Whatever word you want to use, ascension, I don't know. I don't really like that word, but whatever. People seem to realize what you're trying to get at when you say that word, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we're sort of like leaving this reality
growth
behind.
maybe. I don't know. But they do understand.
Yeah.
It seems very popular for people to have a clue about, you know, what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good explanation. Thank
No,
you.
good. I'm glad.
Well, I'll
But,
let you know what when I get to the end of if I can ever get to the end of David Icke's book. I found it the first part of it is all just about his life, so I haven't really got to anything about the trap.
Really?
Other like the very
What,
first.
the book's called The Trap, and you've not got anything
It is
to the trap.
I literally stopped reading it for now because he's just talking. He's setting up the stage, I guess, to what his life was, and how he grew up and so on. And how he turned into the person he was.
Yeah.
But I haven't really got anything yet about the trap. No.
Right.
So yeah. So I started reading your book.
Yeah. Yeah. My book sort of gets to the point on chapter 1, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right at the very beginning, I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is concise. It's not going on and on about
Yeah.
I guess he has a need to talk about his life.
Everyone's got their own style of it. At the end of the day, a lot of people diss David Icke and they say this controlled opposition. I disagree. I think his heart's pure. He's one of the people that woke me up on my journey 20 odd years ago. So I won't have a go at him or anything like that. I'm not convinced all the info he gets is coming from a right source. It might be coming from a source what's not got best
I think we
interest
talked
of
about
mankind.
that before.
Yeah, maybe
how easy. Well, this kind of tells you here. Excuse me. How easy it is for us to be fooled.
Correct.
Like even fooled about this particular topic that we're talking about today. So we can be fooled and brainwashed so easily by the what do you call that? The big black box in our play.
Tell a lie using vision. Yeah.
Yeah, they use that very effectively, and they use the radio.
Well, I mean, it started off at the written word. That's the first brainwashing tool they had. Yeah. Then a massive breakthrough when radio came along. And obviously, with radio, you get radio waves, so that causes all disease as well. So that they get the added bonus of killing more people and giving them more dis-ease. Then when they can introduce the pharmaceuticals then to make more money. So, yeah. And then they make the pièce de resistance, whatever the word is, they tell a lie using vision machine. Yeah. And I mean, if that's not the biggest brainwashing thing ever invented.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact it's on a black screen as well, a scribing black screen, like a mirror. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that kind of tells you all, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, honestly, you can look at like the movies now from a different lens. So when you go back and you look at it and you say, oh my God, look what they're saying. Yeah. Look, like it's so obvious. Yeah. It wasn't before because it's all, you were watchful of that and aware. But now, whoa, the movies, and you're like, whoa, I can't believe they just said that, or look what they're talking about, like over and over and about different things. Do you
think the movies now, though, Debbie, they've changed from brainwashing you? And sort of they used to think by showing you in plain sight, they were getting away with karma, which I don't believe. I just don't believe karma basically. But anyway,
we'll have to look for new movies, to
we've seen
bring
a couple,
up the point. I watched Moonfall again.
Yes,
that was interesting. But a lot of the movies, the actors, the famous actors, are not in them.
No,
they're people that you might have seen them occasionally in other, or you might have never seen them. Yeah, and that kind of tells you something right there. Is that
the film industry is not what it used to be. Let's just say.
No, exactly.
Thankfully,
it's right. Yeah.
Well, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, why not use the thing for our benefit? What they used against us for all those decades. So why not give us movies? Not for people like me and you, I suppose, and people that's awake, with ones that are still sleeping, the ones that haven't come out of the slumber yet. And you know what I mean?
Exactly.
mean,
I think I brought up to you that sort of farce, the kind of Monty Python kind of thing with Myers, what's his name?
Michael
Mike
Myers. Yeah.
What's the name of that? Peneverate or Venerate?
Penteverate. Is it Penteverate?
That.
Penteverate. Yeah, yeah.
People should be watching that movie.
Yeah.
Because that has everything in it. And I heard that it was initially he was on the darker side, and then it was taken over by the good guys, the goodies, to start part of opening and waking up people to this sort of stuff. Here.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
So
anyway, Debbie, how long we've been on?
Yep.
20 odd minutes. Yeah, I think we've covered the my version of the Reincarnation Trap, the false light.
I'll get back to you about what I find in Mr. Ike's book and let you know about that.
Yeah. Let's see if he
can get to the end of
the same conclusions as what I did 10 years ago. So we'll see. I mean,
that was really good. I understand now.
Yeah. Okay, then that's great. Well, thanks everyone for listening to our little waffle on here about the Reincarnation Trap. So I'm Alan Stockdale, and this has been Debbie Anderson. Would you like to give your website out and any details you want if anyone wants to follow you, Debbie?
My website is debbieanderson.com, DEBBI Anderson.com. I also you could go on that website and it'll have information about my YouTube channel and
all the healing, what you do,
all the healing stuff.
Quantum.
I do a lot of I do a lot of healing and hypnosis and so on. On there, you can have a look.
That's fantastic. Awesome. Anyone wanting to connect?
I'd be happy to come back again and.
Yeah, I think we should make it a weekly thing about different subjects. 20 minutes, 30 minutes on about one particular subject, and we'll try his best to stick to it, even though we didn't stick to it perfectly this week, but never mind, eh? Yeah, but you know what it's like. All right then, Debbie. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Alan.
Bye-bye.
Bye.